Yes, he is here, Mr.
Yeah.
Madesh Parekh. So, Madesh Parekh, can you please take the floor and start with the presentation?
Hi, Shuma. Thank you so much. So I take the opportunity to extend green greetings of the day to everyone joining us, and thanks to Friends for Future for this fantastic
There's
initiative
some,
on.
I'm sorry, but there's some echo.
There's some echo.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Is it better now? Is it better? Uh,
It can be possibly because of the headphone. Can you try without?
I'll put off my headphones just a moment. Is it better now?
Okay, maybe you can, if you will speak, maybe again.
Yes.
Sound check. Is this better?
A little better, but I think there is some other technical issue. But you can start. It's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Pardon me. Sorry for that. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. So I take the opportunity to extend green ratings of the day to everyone joining us today, and thanks to Friends for Future for this fantastic initiative on the World Environment Day 2021. And so I would like to quote Jane Goodell, and that is, you cannot get through a single day without having an impact around you. What you do makes a difference, and you must decide what kind of difference you want to make. So globally, we have hundreds of languages, hundreds of cultures and religions, and diverse food and clothing styles. But what is common? The only language that is common, the only culture that is common, and that common thing is economics. And for the past 150 years, we have perceived economics, which has drastically changed how we think and how we live. So, in fact, the ideas of making friends, a parent raising its child, love, care, volunteering, and all this are considered as uneconomic activities. And this narrow definitions of economics that confines itself to only money, and growth has created a disbalance in the economy, which has created a huge gap between economy and ecology. And for example, a neighbor, babysitting a child, while in return someone fetches to take his dog for a walk is not just economic activity. Now that's why, just because it does not accumulate wealth and there's no flow of money. So the question is, have we failed to take into the account of human well-being being as the way of economic well-being, right? And the following years until 2030 are not the ones like we have lived so far. And I'm sure, the Global Risk Report 2020 has come as no surprise to us when, for the very first time, top 4 out of the 5, risks are related to climate change. And that's really alarming. Never has, threat of climate change considered so severe as risk to livelihoods of people. And this definitely calls for action and dramatic change in the system of how, we operate as a society and also as global citizens. And history is our best teacher. Just before industrialization, that is just 150 years back, if you just deep into the time, then back the Earth's global temperature, average temperature was around 14 degrees. Now it has become 15 degrees Celsius, and our economic system is reliant on growth, which has led to rampant increase in consumerism. And this capitalist approach, where incessant advertisement and marketing has pushed us to buy and consume materials that have no need. And to simply put, corporations have exposed us to a world where buying more equals to more well-being, where standard of living is given more importance than the quality of life. And the tool they have used was advertising. And this very advertising and marketing is also pushing us to believe that renewables can save the planet. No. Unless we differentiate between what needs and desires, and likewise rethink our priorities, we will not be able to save this planet despite of solar panels and electric vehicles, and which is really sad. Uh, what advertising does not tell us is the real story. From where does my product come? Who makes it? Whether women and children have been affected by this product, what I'm consuming. how much carbon footprint has my product generated? The complex economic and industrialization structure has made it immensely complicated for us to answer these questions. And how sustainable are the so-called sustainable products? That's again a big question. How does a common man understand sustainability? Only because it is a plant-based may not ensure environmental sustainability or protection of human rights. We cannot go back to the Stone Age, but yes, we can surely try to create a balance and an economic model which has eco-socialism as the foundation of society. I'm talking of a model that replicates donut economics, a degrowth model, dependent on the quality of environment. And this can truly be achieved, when policymakers change the way of economics, the way economics have been perceived and practiced. The young generations, aspiring economists and policymakers starts to question the theories of economics learned so far and move them forward to address the most pressing and threatening issues of our lives. And at an individual level, we all must push ourselves to come out of this bubble of convenience. We're walking in store without a bag, or running into a coffee shop without a mug, and fast doorstep consumerism. I think is changed through mindfulness. On the same hand, corporate should make it their responsibility to ensure that these products are durable and repairs are affordable. Each one of us, have a responsibility to protect our Mother Earth, not just for the sake of ourselves, but also the future generations, what we talk about sustainability. And the youth of this generation have an opportunity to define the future of humanity on this planet. And it is truly important to make peace with nature through sustainable consumption, production, and creation of a structural degrowth economic model. And this is all possible because we have to believe that together we can do more for this planet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madesh. It's really insightful, and